This is way worse than we thought, and things have just taken a sickening turn surrounding LeBron James as a brand new report has dropped from Shams revealing some critical information about his injury. But not only that, we have some new updates that no one is talking about that changes the landscape of this team going forward. We're going to break down these brand new updates, discuss the point that no one's talking about, as well as a few other interesting things, including something you're going to want to stay tuned until the end of the video for. But before we get into it all, if you're a part of the percentage who aren't subscribed to the channel, folks, this is the place to be for daily Lakers content. Your guys' support's been absolutely unbelievable. Make sure to hit the subscribe button, producing videos every single day up until the season starts, of course, and then multiple videos a day. So stay tuned for that. Ladies and gentlemen, a ton to go over here. LeBron, we made a video on it, me and Hunter, yesterday. We know he's out with an injury. He's going to miss at least the start of the regular season. A brand new report from Shams has dropped, revealing some unfortunate information and some new details surrounding the injury. This injury for LeBron, his nerve issue, first occurred in late July during an on-court workout. It's now 2.5 months later and counting that he has been dealing with it and managing it. Not a good update. We're going to stay tuned, or you're going to want to stay tuned for another update later on this video. Folks, this is not ideal. So we all know the injury is the sciatica. That's something that, again, some people are making jokes that it happens with old age and things like that. Folks, he's going to be out for weeks, potentially months. And this completely changes the landscape of the way this team looks, the way that the team performs, all these different things. But for Shams to come out and reveal that this has been something that's happening for 2.5 months now, and he's still going to miss the start of the season, this is really bad. And LeBron's someone that really hasn't been dealing with long-term injuries, especially over the summer in his career. He did deal with some injuries last year, especially after the Luka Doncic trade. All those things are true, but this will be and will be his first time ever missing opening night, which alone is pretty crazy. But beyond that, you can see here, it's gotten worse according to Evan Siddery and Shams over the past month, to the point where LeBron has been unable to do any on-court basketball activities. And we know that DeAndre Ayton made that comment about how he hasn't been able to work out with LeBron. He was able to work out with Luka a little bit. It was because of the fact that LeBron can't do any on-court activities, and maybe they were trying to keep it secret. Maybe they were trying to keep it under the radar. The reality is the reality, and that is that he has been dealing with this since the end of July. So I believe it occurred at a practice, they've been saying, or some sort of, not practice, some sort of on-court workout, because obviously they're not practicing that early. It is bad. It is, all bad at this point. It's a pretty sickening turn here, and one that you do not want from your, 40-year-old superstar, 41-year-old superstar, which is hilarious to say. It is scary. And for Shams to come out and say this, he has to be sure of it. And of course, Shams is a great reporter. This means he's probably out for 4 to 6 weeks, maybe longer. And there was a doctor recently that came out and speculated on the possible return timeline. LeBron James from Dr. Evan Jeffries is out for the beginning of the 2025-2026 season. And this was all this, article and report from the doctor was before the update about, how it's gotten worse. But here it is here. He'll be reevaluated in 3 to 4 weeks for sciatica. Likely, if all goes well with pain, it means he will ramp up. He will need a ramp up. He'll need a ramp up period for 1 to 2 weeks, and likely it keeps him out at least 4 to 6 weeks. That would be best case scenario. Keep in mind here, it says likely if all goes well. Yes, 4 to 6 weeks to ramp him up and really get back to form. So about a month and a half, 2 months. And that was before the timeline from Shams. We're looking at Thanksgiving. We're looking at November here, not October. And that's something that is obviously unfortunate, and it's going to require people to step up. And you can see this here with any injury. There's usually a ramp-up period where a player gets ready to return to game action by getting into simulated game situations before returning to the court. We all know this, and LeBron is a professional, especially at recovering. He's age 40, certainly doesn't help him when it comes to returning from injuries quicker. And that's some of the things that, are unfortunate about the situation. LeBron is going to have to take his time. And he recently went on the Mind the Game podcast with Steve Nash and basically talked about how, at this point of his career, maybe alluding to the fact that he was dealing with this injury. Because if you rewind now and look at everything in hindsight, he's been dealing with this for the past few months. He actually probably knew that he was going to miss the start of the regular season, or at least was going to hope that he was going to make it. But he said in the Mind the Game podcast that his goal right now is the playoffs. It's not the regular season. And for him to take some regular season time off is fine. All these different things. The Lakers are not going to rush LeBron back. There's no world that happens. They should have enough superstar power in the meantime to make up for it. And we know this is going to require a lot of people to step up. But folks, LeBron is a basketball genius. He's a genius in general. He is an absolutely fantastic player, fantastic athlete. He's going to need to step up, and or the other players around him are going to need to step up, because he's probably going to be out through Thanksgiving. And you can see here from Evan Siddery, Lakers might be without LeBron and might not be back until closer to Thanksgiving. So let me know down below what your thoughts are. way worse than we thought. An unfortunate truth here for LeBron James, and one that at this point is pretty bad, right? Now, at the same time, you look at how this team is constructed. You have some players, and let's again assume and play the game LeBron James is out for the start of the year, which he is. Leave down below in the comments your starting lineup. Now, again, Luka, Reaves, Rui, Jake Laravia, DeAndre Ayton, like that's what Hunter, proposed yesterday. You could throw Rui to the 4, you could throw Smart to the 2 and put Reaves at Smart at the 3, put Reaves at the 2 and put Luka at the 1. You put Marcus Smart in the lineup, which is something that I was kind of clamoring for them to do anyway. Give you some defensive versatility. This is going to require Luka Doncic to step up, which he can. He is a superstar. This is, a prime time for him to get his legs under him. But at the same time, you don't want to throw too much of a load on him early in the year, but it might be, the way that it happens. And hopefully no other injuries happen to this Lakers team because they're already now without their second best player. The bench is going to have to step up. Dalton Knecht, he's going to have to probably step into a role here. Of course, they signed Nick Smith Jr. to that two-way. They're probably not going to use Nick Smith Jr., but he's on a two-way contract. Gabe Vincent, Jared Vanderbilt, someone who has been showed all offseason of getting a better offensive bag, all these different things. Hopefully, maybe he can turn into some sort of, off-ball threat in the corners for Luka Doncic. A lot of things are happening here. And as you look at specifically what the regular season looks like and the games going to be missing, it's a fairly tough schedule. Not really. Like Golden State, really good. Minnesota, really good in theory. Sacramento's no slouch. They're usually pretty bad. Portland should be easy in theory. And again, no game is easy. Minnesota, you play Miami, you play Portland again. Like, there's some pretty good and pretty bad teams, but missing, even let's say you miss October, right? You're missing games without your second best player against the Golden State Warriors, the Minnesota Timberwolves twice, the Minnesota Timberwolves again, and then maybe even Miami. So it is not going to be an easy schedule for LeBron to miss. At the same time, you have guys who are capable of stepping up. And, Kendrick Perkins is a cause for some concern here. He says at the end of this season, I feel like this should be LeBron's last season, and he should really retire after this season. It's nothing more for him to accomplish. He accomplished everything. I'm not going to dive into it too much. I hope he doesn't retire. Do what's best for him and his family and his health. He's going to be out for the foreseeable future, folks, and that requires some new thinking, especially as this schedule gets tighter, gets closer and closer to being a reality here on October 21st. You have JJ Redick now who's going to have to really work behind the scenes to make things work here. And the players, they're going to have to step up. Jake Laravia, elevated role. Jared Vanderbilt, elevated role. Gabe Vincent, elevated role. Marcus Smart, elevated role. Maybe even Dalton Knecht. So it's going to be wild. You have haters already coming out. Not haters. Kendrick Perkins is not a LeBron hater necessarily right now, at least in this quote. But he is saying that they should, he should hang him up following nerve irritation. Hopefully he's good and he's back within the next month and a half. But either way, you're missing some critical games here. But get him back for the playoffs. That's what matters the most. Let me know, folks, down below what your starting lineup would be. Let me know, folks, down below what your thoughts are on this. And also let me know, folks, if you enjoyed the video. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you in the next one. You guys are beasts.